I think this is the best we're gonna get for lighting today. So I've had a lot of, well, yeah, probably about like 4 weeks, I would say, roughly, if not a little bit more than that, to think about how I was going to do things compared, like, from my last video, or not my last video, the video before my last video, talking about moving more towards my other creative hobbies as a form of just like that's what I wanted to do at the time. And um the problem with that is, going as fast as I was going with that, I should have known that eventually I was going to get, I guess, burnt out with that. And that's kind of where I am right now. It's now and then I have like a spark to create something, but then I get sidetracked and forget my idea, or maybe just change my mind on that idea as a whole. And so where I want to go after that is I'm definitely going to return back to YouTube. Um, I will, like I said before, I'm going to try to manage doing multiple things at the same time because, yeah, no, I just haven't felt that same creative mindset. And like I said, probably about a couple weeks, if not into maybe all of just February in general. I'm pretty sure. Maybe just all of just February in general, I haven't felt creative in terms of my art. So that took me to think about what I wanted to do with the channel. And if you've been following for a while, you know that the channel direction changes is very like, it's normally after a bit. And it's normally specifically, there's always a reason for it. Because I'm either not happy with what I was making, or I have new ideas that go against how I used to do things. That's normally how I look at it. And realistically, it all really dates back to when I actually decided to make content that isn't gaming related content on this channel, which was in high school, and stuff that I thought was, I mean, it was good at the time, and I'm going to get into talking a little bit more about that and why it's important now to bring that up. But at the same time, it also reflects a part of me that I really just, I know that I'm a different person now and I don't hold those same values. So where I am right now is that for pretty much, I'd say maybe the half of 2025 into this year, I have felt so compelled to make more meaningful content outside of just, you know, stuff talking about stuff related to media. And I have been engaging more and getting familiar with content that like has more value to it in terms of like discussing media analysis, in terms of bringing up other important topics that are relevant to this day, whether it be political or whatever. And I want to kind of do that. And I'll also, but I'm not going to be talking about stuff I don't want to talk about. And the reason why I want to do this is, and it shouldn't really come to a surprise for everyone, considering that um, I originally, the main idea for changing what I would post on this channel was for the sole purpose of making stuff that resonates with other people that are, struggling mentally, struggling with their, struggling with just various kinds of issues. And it was the main reason why I changed my career path in general with like the pandemic and everything. And all of that was supposed to be that on this channel. Now, where things went wrong was that I thought of that idea when I was not, my brain wasn't fully developed. 16, 16 was when I was trying to make that type of content, also inspired by bad people that try to do the same thing, and trying to not necessarily forget that stuff. It was actually rewriting. Trying to rewrite that stuff too also wasn't a good idea. And there was some content that I think maybe in 2024, I believe, that kind of exercised talking a little bit more about things that I normally wouldn't talk about, but also relating, music to that type of stuff. So it really frustrates me because when you talk about stuff like this, there's always going to be the specific crowd that will just say that, oh, you're woke now. And just by that alone, like, you don't factor in how all of this came to be. You don't factor that like my personal experience with getting bullied, um, my personal experience with uh, authority figures failing me, the educational system failing me, that, yeah, I would be anti-authority, and obviously because of this. Um, and just by going by like the analytics and stuff like that, I know that more people from the States, I think, watch me than I think second would be like Canada, and then there was like some other countries thrown into the mix. That I feel like, yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to start talking about this content because that's it's who I am as a person. I should be talking about this stuff, and it's not fair. I think that just the political division between blue and red, left and right, is stupid, and in all fairness, everybody should just it's a class act, it's a class war. Everybody should just team up against the higher powers. Tons of fiction has taught us this for so long, but because of social media and just the internet in general and everything, even just you can throw in the pandemic and all that, where a lot of smart people have now been have now failed in falling victim to, you can call it brain rot. I'm just gonna call it just brain rot in general. People don't know what empathy is anymore. So much selfishness, and it is apparent that we need to do something about it. And what frustrates me is that I feel like the best people that are talking about this are people that aren't actual political figures. And that's a frustrating thing because at this point, if you continue to obey people that, are so-called in charge, um, and you're failing to realize that the other people around you who clearly see what's actually happening, they're telling you that what is going on is not okay. But if you continue to obey those people, you're eventually going to lose yourself. It has happened so many times. A lot of tragedies in recent years have happened because of that. And there's another that, even just throwing in the mix of just getting away from social media and disconnecting from even just technology in general is so far superior, for your mental health, instead of consuming all of this garbage content. And there's a lot of different factors that you can look at, even just small bits that aren't strictly tied to the political discourse. It's just like it's a very small minor thing, but still has an effect. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking about like maybe developing like a pyramid um, diagram of how I would want to talk about that sort of thing. But more specifically, um, I do want to focus more on media analysis. I talked about the Watchdogs thing. I do think that will probably be the first thing. This will be the new series, I guess. We're going to see how long it lasts. We're going to see how long I want to do this type of content. The first video will obviously be an introduction video, very similar to, if you've been watching since I 20 either 2019 or 2020, when I started posting the content that wasn't gaming related content, um, where I was developing a series. There's going to be the introduction video, and I do still think that a little bit of Quiet Kid Quadrant episode 1 still has a lot of relevance to the introduction, but also, then there's the post college experience, or just the college experience in general, which adds a lot more to that it makes more sense to develop an introductory video. The introduction video is, again, going to be like an updated video, I guess, just about um, how I came to be this person, the past experience and terrible history, with the like, I guess just how my views have changed, and kind of taking that information and pushing it more towards just like how it's relevant to today. After that, then it's going to be the typical content stuff. The Watch Dogs video is a video that I definitely want to make. However, the problem with that is the more time I take to make it. Like, I've already saw that someone already like kind of made a video. I didn't watch the video. The Watch Dogs series deserved better than Ubisoft. Something along those lines. And I'm curious if they would somehow tie that in, why like having another Watch Dogs game would be important in this climate, um, as that's what the video is going to be about. There's a lot more. There's a lot of other things too, just specifically, um, and I've been thinking about like, because I don't want to steal other people's content. I don't want to make the same videos that other people have made, even if I have different examples. But at the same time, I feel like it's just still important, because for the people that watch this channel probably don't watch those other channels, and it would make a lot more sense to still talk about that stuff, even though it's already been said. Stuff like basically explaining how easy it is to manipulate an audience into falling um, falling for a problem that doesn't exist and profiting off of that. How easy it is to profit off that. Also talking about how a lot of the time, most of the time, a lot of people that do that stuff are just doing it for the money, and they don't actually care about this random political issue that doesn't even exist. Um, and obviously, when I mentioned that, if you have been watching the channel, you would probably think back to the video that I made. Actually, now that I think about it, when I remember, is that not a lot of people a lot of people that watched that video didn't like that video, because probably went to the wrong audience, which was people were expecting me to make a video talking about how Lost Records is, a woke game, and it's terrible for the gaming industry. But that whole video was actually a response and be like, you guys are stupid because you played Life is Strange, and honestly, you can apply your logic to so many other games that predate the 2010 of being against your political beliefs. And the last thing that I want to mention is that the whole idea that I see nowadays between, and it sucks that I have to say both sides, but both of them mean two different things when they say that this blank issue is political. And a lot of the time, like, pretty much everything is political. But at the same time, applying just positive human beliefs as bad is not, that it shouldn't be a political thing. For example, human rights. Human rights shouldn't be a political topic. Compared to something as having more representation in a game is a political thing, when the only response they have is, well, if it's not a big deal, then why aren't you fine with that? Why aren't you fine with it if it's not in the game? And that's when misinformation between different groups kind of fall in line with this category of, it's a political discourse that has like three different answers to the question, and even looking more deep into like just the political groups in general, then you start falling into this category of like, well, you were taught that this is the right thing that you need to do, but then this other group is saying that no, that isn't the right thing to do. And it also contradicts with like religion as well. And then, someone that is being someone that's religious, then it just becomes confusing, because they're saying that, oh, you shouldn't do this because of the Bible, but then they're doing the opposite of what is also preached in the Bible. So it pains me that I have to even make something like this, just by how stupid it is with the whole just misinformation and stupid arguments with stupid people. And that's not even, and honestly, I'm going to be harsh about it, because I wasn't harsh about it enough in any video that I make defending art as, just basic. Like, you can see in my background that I have an appreciation for various kinds of art. There's so many different takeaways that you can get from media that is art, video games, movies, books. I love that type of stuff, and especially music. That it's really frustrating when someone wants to, or someone is attacking that for a reason that not only doesn't make sense, but also destroys the entire purpose of why that piece of media exists. All art is political, whether it's intentional or not. I recently got into anime. I can think of plenty of different animes that I enjoy. That there are you can probably take away some political um, sense from probably all of them. I think I got my point across that this is going to be the new era of the channel. It's going to be political in the sense of I'm just defending what I believe, what I grew up on, what I learned. And if you disagree with that, you know, everybody has different personal experiences, but I'm not changing this for sole purpose of profits or because I've been brainwashed. These are all conclusions that I've come to my own understanding with just, again, personal experiences alone. Media does help understand some of those things, but yeah, that's going to be the next era of the channel, the killing my channel era. Peace.